The alien armada arrived like a moving continent of metal, blotting out the stars. For centuries, the Karthak Dominion had conquered with ease. Entire civilizations fell beneath their fleets without resistance worth remembering. To them, war was routine, conquest was inevitable, and Earth was simply the next target. Inside the Dominion's high command chamber aboard their colossal flagship Sovereign Claw, alien generals gathered in a semicircle of command thrones, holoscreens, hovered above them, displaying intercepted fragments of humanity's so-called defense strategy. General Verkal, his scales shimmering with arrogance, clicked his fangs together in amusement. Look at this disorder! They scatter their fleets instead of concentrating them. Their supply lines are a web of chaos. These humans are like children tossing pebbles at a tidal wave. Laughter rippled through the chamber. Another general, Krathjin, struck the table with the flat of his claw. It almost feels insulting to commit our full armada to this farce. But the Council demands spectacle. Let us burn their world bright enough that the galaxy remembers. They roared in agreement, mockery echoing as they prepared to descend. Upon Earth. On Earth, there was no laughter. In the underground command bunker beneath Geneva, silence hung heavy as men and women studied the approaching swarm of enemy ships. Screens glowed with data feeds, each one painting the same grim picture. Humanity was outnumbered 10-1. General Marcus Hale, a man whose eyes carried the weight of too many wars, stood at the center. His voice was calm, almost too calm, as he addressed his staff. "They think we're fools," Hale said. "Let them. Arrogance is their weakness. Unpredictability is our strength. Remember this. Chaos to them is strategy to us." Colonel Rivera leaned forward, concern etched across her face. "Sir, if they see through the deception—" Hale cut her off with a thin smile. "Then Earth burns. But if they don't, their fleet does." Around the room, grim nods answered him. Humanity wasn't relying on brute strength. They couldn't. Instead, they relied on a web of hidden dreadnoughts, orbital railgun platforms cloaked in Earth's magnetosphere, and AI-guided swarms of drones hidden among the asteroids. To the alien generals, the deployments looked scattered, desperate. In truth, it was a trap. The Karthak Armada descended with pomp and arrogance. Their ships moved in perfect formation, a wall of steel and plasma, engines roaring like thunder, across the void. From orbit, they unleashed their first barrage, confident that humanity's fragile defenses would collapse instantly. But the collapse never came. Instead, small Earth fleets darted forward, firing in seemingly random patterns, retreating just as quickly. Alien commanders sneered, mistaking the movements for panic. "Pathetic," Krathjin snarled, watching human ships scatter before him. "They can't even hold a line." But General Verkal frowned. Something gnawed at him. The humans weren't running blindly. They were leading the Dominion fleet deeper into Earth's orbit, into a narrowing corridor. The aliens pressed forward, intoxicated by the illusion of victory, until the stars lit with fire. From behind Earth's moon, 3 dreadnoughts decloaked, their railguns already charged. From the asteroid belt, drone swarms awoke, moving like a metallic tide. From Earth's shadow, orbital cannons hidden in the magnetosphere roared to life. The scattered human fleets converged with precision, their apparent chaos transforming into a tightening noose around the alien armada. The first volley shredded the Dominion's vanguard. Alien warships, once considered invincible, cracked open like eggshells beneath hypervelocity slugs. Plasma, fire answered, but the drones swarmed faster than their turrets could track, tearing through hulls and engines. The Sovereign Claw shook under the impact as alarms shrieked across the command chamber. Generals who once laughed now snarled in confusion. "This is impossible!" Krath Jin roared. "They were disorganized! They deceived us," Verkal spat, horror dawning in his eyes. Their chaos was the plan. The trap tightened. Human dreadnoughts unleashed coordinated salvos, cutting swaths through the alien formations. The asteroid belt drones blocked retreat, while Earth's orbital cannons turned advancing ships into drifting wreckage. Alien vessels, proud symbols of the Dominion's supremacy, burned and shattered. Flames erupted in vacuum, engines exploded. Hulls split open, spilling bodies and molten debris into the void. The laughter of the generals was gone. In its place came silence, then fear. Within hours, the once mighty Dominion fleet was unrecognizable. Where a wall of ships had blotted out the stars, only wreckage drifted now, charred husks, broken engines, and lifeless silence. On board the Sovereign Claw, General Verkal stood before the holoscreens, watching his fleet die. His claws trembled. They've turned the battlefield into a cage. We were the prey all along. Krath Jin, bleeding from a wound where his console had exploded, stared in disbelief. This cannot be. No primitive race has ever outwitted us. His words were cut short as the human dreadnought Iron Resolve fired. The railgun slug tore through the Sovereign Claw, ripping its spine apart. The flagship groaned, metal, screeching as it split in two. The Dominion generals, who had once mocked humanity's strategy, perished in the inferno of their arrogance. Back on Earth, the command bunker erupted in cheers as the last enemy ship flickered into ruin. General Hale did not cheer. He simply exhaled, his shoulders finally loosening. "Status?" he asked. Colonel Rivera grinned, eyes shining with pride. "The Dominion fleet is gone, sir. All of it. Earth stands." Hale allowed himself a faint smile. "Then let the galaxy remember. Humanity isn't prey." His gaze hardened. "We are predators with patience." And across the void, as news of the slaughter spread, alien empires trembled. For the first time, they whispered the name of Earth not with scorn, but with fear. Humanity had burned an armada to ashes, and the galaxy would never laugh at human strategy again. The war halls of the Carcos Dominion were a place of shadow and arrogance. Towering pillars of obsidian rose high above the generals' seats, each throne gilded with the spoils of countless conquered worlds. Hollow projections flickered between them, displaying intercepted fragments of humanity's defense plans. General Jorath, oldest among them, leaned forward with a rasping laugh. His mandibles clicked together as his gaze scanned the human battle maps. "This is their plan? Scattered fleets, broken supply chains, feints so obvious a hatchling could counter them? Bah! They have no doctrine, no discipline, only chaos." Another, General Varktel, slammed a claw against the table, his eyes gleaming with scorn. "It is insulting. The humans dare posture as if they can stand against us. Their strategy is riddled with flaws so glaring it borders on comedy." The chamber erupted in cruel laughter. They compared the coming invasion to crushing ants with a hammer, to drowning vermin in fire. None questioned the certainty of their victory. After all, the Carcos Dominion had raised empires with fleets half this size. Humanity was merely the next footnote in their legacy of conquest. The order was given: launch the Armada. Mockery and arrogance. When the Dominion fleet entered Sol system, its sheer size was overwhelming. Thousands of warships in tight formation, a tide of metal that eclipsed the stars. Alien war journals broadcast across the fleet, their generals boasting of swift annihilation. "By dawn on their world," Zorath declared, "Earth will be nothing but molten rock. Their people will kneel or perish." The crews roared in savage approval. What none of them knew was that humanity had intended for the Dominion to see their flawed plans. Every transmission intercepted, every careless leak, every crude map, all of it had been planted, and the aliens swallowed the bait whole. The human gambit on Earth, inside a bunker hidden deep beneath the Rockies, General Amelia Grant watched the enemy advance. Her staff worked in silence, tension thick in the air. Before them, the hollow table displayed the Dominion's fleet, an ocean of red markers closing fast. Colonel Ishan Malik broke the silence. "They think our defense net is fractured. They're coming straight through the corridor we left open." Grant nodded. "Good. Let them. They wanted a show of force. Let's give them one they'll never forget." Unlike the Dominion, humanity did not rely on brute numbers. Their strength lay in misdirection, in bending chaos into strategy. What looked like fractured supply lines were hidden conduits for drone swarms. What looked like scattered fleets were carefully placed ambush groups, and what looked like desperation was, in truth, a noose waiting to tighten. The Dominion thought they were walking into victory. In truth, they were walking into a trap centuries in the making, the turning point. The first engagement began near Mars. Human frigates darted out from orbit, firing erratic volleys before retreating into the dust storms. The Dominion laughed, calling it cowardice. They pursued with their vanguard, eager for blood. Then the drones woke. From the asteroid belt came a tide of AI-guided attack swarms, millions strong, disguised as mining rigs and debris. They hit the Dominion vanguard like a plague of locusts, chewing through hull plating, blinding sensors, cutting engines to ribbons. General Varktel bared his fangs in shock. "Impossible! Where did these come from?" Before he could answer himself, Earth's orbital platforms uncloaked, hidden in the planet's magnetosphere. Their railguns fired as one, hurling tungsten rods at near-light speed. Dominion cruisers, cracked apart, their cores detonating like dying suns. Still, the Dominion pressed forward, determined to smash Earth beneath sheer numbers. They did not realize they were already surrounded, the encirclement. Near the moon's far side, fleets that the Dominion thought retreating suddenly reappeared, their weapons hot. Carriers launched squadrons of stealth bombers that cut into the Dominion's rear. At the same time, Earth's dreadnoughts emerged from beneath Europa's icy shadow, sweeping in like executioners. The Dominion fleet, once spread wide in arrogance, now found itself funneled into a narrowing kill zone. General Zorath's mandibles clicked in fury. "This is not strategy. It is trickery. They have no honor." General Grant's voice cut across Dominion comms, her message intentionally broadcast. "No honor, no general, just survival. And survival breeds invention." The Dominion generals fell into stunned silence. The humans had not only anticipated their every move, they had turned their pride into shackles, Armada to ashes. The battle that followed was not a contest. It was a massacre. Human dreadnoughts coordinated in perfect timing, unleashing railgun barrages that tore Dominion battleships apart. Drone swarms filled the gaps, overwhelming point defenses. Orbital cannons turned retreating ships into molten shrapnel. From Earth's surface, ground-based lasers struck upward, catching stragglers as they attempted to break orbit. Everywhere the Dominion turned, they found another layer of the trap, waiting. On the flagship Obsidian Wrath, Zorath watched in disbelief as ship after ship disappeared from his displays. Thousands reduced to hundreds, hundreds to dozens. Varktel staggered toward him, blood seeping from his wounds. We underestimated them. They were never disorganized. He never finished. A railgun slug from the human dreadnought Dauntless punched through the Obsidian Wrath, splitting it in two. Zorath and his council of generals were consumed in fire. The laughter of the Dominion died with them. Echo. Across the stars. When the last Dominion cruiser broke apart, Silence fell across the system. The void was littered with wreckage, millions of tons of once proud warships now reduced to drifting ash. In the bunker, General Grant stood over the hollow table, her face expressionless. "Report," Colonel Malik exhaled, unable to hide his awe. "Enemy fleet eliminated, ma'am, completely. Not a single capital ship remains intact." The room erupted into restrained cheers, but Grant only nodded. Her eyes were cold steel. "Send word to the galaxy," she said. "The Carcos Dominion thought us weak. They thought us naive. Now they know. Humanity doesn't fight to survive. We fight to win." And across the stars, as whispers of the slaughter spread, empires trembled. No longer did they laugh at human strategy. No longer did they mock humanity's methods. For the first time, the galaxy looked at Earth and saw not prey, but predators who had burned an armada to ashes. The Koroth Dominion's generals sat in their war chamber aboard the massive flagship Eternal Dominion, laughter echoing through the metallic halls. Their voices, deep and guttural, carried arrogance like a weapon sharper than any blade. "Humans," General Scarvin sneered, mandibles flexing as he stared at the holoscreen. "Their entire war doctrine is nonsense, incoherent, unpredictable. They don't even hold formation properly." The other generals laughed, their claws drumming on the obsidian table. General Veilcor added, "They fight like savages with toys, a civilization of chaos. They will never stand against a true armada." In the holoscreens, intercepted transmissions from Earth played on repeat. Human commanders discussed unorthodox tactics, feints within feints, unpredictable assaults. To the aliens, it was foolishness. To them, unpredictability was weakness. They did not realize unpredictability was humanity's greatest weapon. The march to victory. The Dominion Armada moved like a tide of steel. Thousands of warships, bristling with plasma cannons and shielded by layered energy fields, swept across the void in a display of overwhelming power. They believed victory was already theirs. The broadcasts continued. Scarvin himself addressed the soldiers of the fleet. "Tonight we end Earth's defiance. Tonight their skies will burn and their oceans will boil. Let this be remembered not as a war, but as an execution." The Dominion cheered. The thought of defeat never crossed their minds. After all, the humans had only a handful of dreadnoughts, scattered fleets, and strange tactics that no civilized race would dare employ. To the Dominion, this war was already written in stone. But the stone was about to crack. The hidden weapon far from Earth, in the shadows of the asteroid belt, humanity waited. The generals on Earth had not built their strategy on matching the Dominion's brute strength. It was impossible. Instead, they had built something entirely new. Colonel Sarah Cade stood in the command deck of the orbital station Prometheus. Around her, engineers and tacticians worked furiously, preparing for the moment. "Are the arrays charged?" she asked. 78% and climbing," her second-in-command replied. "Once they fire, there's no hiding them." Cade's eyes hardened. "Then it's time. The Dominion expects chaos. Let's give them fire." Hidden among the asteroids were massive solar lens arrays, unimaginably large constructs designed to focus the sun's energy into beams capable of vaporizing warships. Alongside them waited billions of AI-guided drones, dormant, masquerading as harmless mining equipment. The Dominion had mocked humanity's unpredictability. Soon, they would learn what it truly meant. The battle begins. The Dominion Armada entered Earth's orbit with thundering arrogance. War drums echoed across their channels as plasma cannons prepared to fire. "Begin bombardment," Scarvin ordered, his mandibles curling in triumph. The first volley screamed toward Earth, only to meet a wall of railgun fire from orbital defense platforms. Shields flared, ships shuddered, but the Dominion laughed again. "Trinkets!" Veilcor scoffed. "They think to delay us with toys." Then the trap sprang. The drones awoke first, a metallic storm rising from the asteroid belt. They moved like a tide of knives, cutting through Dominion escorts, overwhelming defenses. By sheer numbers. At first, the aliens laughed again, until their point defense turrets began to fail, their cannons silenced, their shields crumbling under thousands of micro-attacks, and then the sky itself burned. The solar lens arrays came alive, channeling the fury of the sun into focused beams of fire. They struck Dominion cruisers, vaporizing them in blinding white light. Plasma shields melted like wax. Warships disintegrated into drifting cinders. Suddenly, the laughter in the Dominion's war chamber stopped. The burning, the battle turned into a slaughter. Human dreadnoughts surged forward, their railguns pounding through exposed hulls. Drone swarms filled every gap, striking engines, tearing apart weapon systems. The solar beams swept the battlefield, burning entire squadrons to nothing. On the Eternal Dominion, alarms blared as ship after ship vanished from the displays. This is impossible!" Veilcore roared. His claws tore across the console. "Our Armada is the mightiest in the galaxy. They cannot... General Scarvin stared in horror as the holoscreens filled with fire. "We underestimated them. Their unpredictability. It wasn't weakness." His voice shook. It was deception. Outside, Dominion ships burned. Engines detonated, reactors overloaded, and proud warships became drifting tombs. The fleet that had come to enslave Earth was reduced to ash in the span of hours. The humans had not fought a battle. They had orchestrated an execution. The last general. As the Armada crumbled, Scarvin's flagship took a direct hit. The hull split, fire tearing through corridors. Explosions rocked the ship as crew members screamed in panic. Scarvin staggered into an escape pod, his mandibles bleeding from the shock. As the pod launched, he drifted into the void, watching his Armada die. Through the shattered windows, he saw the solar arrays ignite again, beams lancing through what remained of his fleet. Once proud battleships, symbols of Dominion supremacy, were reduced to cinders that glowed against the black canvas of space. In that moment, the general understood. "They were never weak," he whispered, voice breaking. "They were waiting," his. Pod spun away into the silence of space, surrounded not by the triumphant roar of victory, but by the quiet of a graveyard. New galactic fear. When the battle ended, Earth still stood. The Dominion Armada, once the greatest force in the galaxy, was gone, burned to ash by the very incoherence they had mocked. On Earth, Colonel Cade addressed her exhausted crew. Her voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed the weight of history. "Transmit to every listening station in the galaxy," she said. "The Dominion came to burn us. Instead, they were burned. Humanity does not yield." Her words echoed far beyond Earth. Across the galaxy, alien empires listened in silence, some with awe, others with fear. For the first time, whispers spread. Of a truth that could not be denied, humans were not prey. They were predators who had turned arrogance into ashes, and from that day on, no alien general laughed at human strategy again.